great to welcome back to our Book Talk segment a woman who's written another one of her great books featuring her outstanding character, Alexandra Cooper. I believe it's the 19th edition, and this one is called Deadfall. We're joined today by best-selling author Linda Fairstein from, I believe, up in either New York or Massachusetts today. And Linda, welcome back. Good to talk with you again.
Doug, wonderful to be back with you, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, we talked to you when the Killer Look book came out about a year ago, so that's done very well.
Yes,
congratulations.
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you up in Massachusetts today? I think you live in Martha's Vineyard, don't you?
I'll
Part
get
of the year?
there. I will, yep. So I have to wait till the book tour's over, and August 1st it ends on Martha's Vineyard, where it is much cooler than today is about 99 degrees in sweltering New York City.
That's what I hear. It's even hotter than Florida. So
yeah, brutal.
Well, good to have a chance again to talk with you. And again, for those who weren't with us before, I mean, I know you have a lot of fans, but maybe some people haven't heard of Alexandra Cooper. And talk a little bit about her. She's kind of based a bit on your career, which was with the Sex Crimes Unit of the District Attorney's Office in Manhattan. But she gets into a bit of a case here, doesn't she?
She certainly does. So I was a prosecutor in New York, as you know, Doug, and some of your listeners might, but I was a prosecutor for 30 years. And when I decided to write the series, which I'd long wanted to do, I used that old adage, write what you know. So Coop is a much younger sex crimes prosecutor. Somehow I've aged 24 years since I started to write about her, since I created her. She's aged 3, so she was 35 in Final Jeopardy. She's 38 in Deadfall. It's a wonderful fictional piece of this to control. And she found herself at the very end of Killer Look, the witness to a murder of a very high-profile New Yorker. He actually was shot on the steps of the Metropolitan Museum of Art and collapsed really into her arms. So this book opens just an hour later. She's still got blood on her clothing. She's at the morgue in disbelief. And the thing I guess that I had the most enjoyment writing was the tables are turned. The federal prosecutor has to investigate this. And Coop finds herself early on in the book being considered as one of the suspects in the murder, that perhaps she lured this high-profile man to the museum to meet him, and then the killer struck. So all the years and books in which I've written Coop as the person in charge of the investigation, as the person in charge of the interrogation, this book is entirely different. Starts out with Coop being on the wrong side of the table, and takes off from there.
Yeah, it's interesting kind of a switch on that, because you have 19 books. You sort of try and find different ways to present the characters, so this really switches around 180 degrees almost.
Yes, and just as you say, I mean, we like to keep it fresh for our readers. Alex was kidnapped about 4 books ago, and that was she survived it, but that was a way for her to experience the kind of victimization that she's seen all these years, so we see it through her eyes. She's had some PTSD following that, and this kind of shocks her. Mike Chapman's trying to get her back on her feet and into the game again, and hopefully what she experiences in Deadfall does that for her.
Yeah, Mike Chapman, you mentioned he's a NYPD homicide detective. That's her partner, Alex's partner.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So they have to get out and...
From the first book, yep.
Right.
He's got to get her back on her feet.
And in this book, again, I don't like to give away too much, but they deal with, black market predators, smugglers, even animal conservation groups, right, in trying to find who did this.
Yes. It's an issue I've always been interested in, and in fact... I am on the board of something called the White Oak Conservation Center, which is in Florida, in Yulee, Florida, and have been since the 1980s. It was founded by a dear friend of mine, and but that issue never crossed my path as a prosecutor. The last couple of years, and I know this from reading the papers and talking to prosecutors, it's become the issue with smuggling, with predators, human predators, smuggling valuables like ivory elephant tusks, right, illegal in the States, rhino horn, killing these creatures for their valuable parts. And that's been trafficked the way humans are, the way drugs are, and being prosecuted. So I thought it was a legitimate way for me to explore this world in a book. it's become a real problem and a real issue.
Yeah, that's great. You can kind of add that in with the story, a little message there as well. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And again, all your books feature, like you said, New York, and for people like myself who grew up there, but even if you haven't, you really kind of paint that picture of the city, and the city almost becomes a character, right?
That's what I aim to do, sort of go somewhere in every book. So I grew up just outside the city, Mount Vernon, New York, and was very fortunate to be 20 minutes away from the Bronx Zoo,
Sure.
which was actually, I didn't know, founded by Teddy Roosevelt and his buddy. And so we were good kids on a Saturday or Sunday in the fall or spring. One of the parents would take a bunch of us to the zoo. And so I did all of my research on site at the Bronx Zoo through the Wildlife Conservation Society. And I have to tell you, research was never so much fun. Going to the zoo, going behind the scenes. They gave me zookeepers to take me to the different, the African plains and the mountains recreated where silverback gorillas live. And these keepers really talk to the animals. I mean, the animals just light up when they see Cindy come by, who knows each of them by name, the 30 gorillas. So really fun.
We used to go as part of a field trip.
Put it in the book.
I grew up in Long Island,
Yes,
and that was
yes,
a field trip.
yes,
Every,
from the
I think,
Bronx.
3rd or 4th grade,
There
you took the bus to the Bronx Zoo.
Absolutely. Come back, Doug. I'll take you myself.
I haven't been there in a while. I have to do that. But again, a great, as presume, the 19th installment of the Alexandra Cooper series. This one called Deadfall, and really picks up where the previous book left off. Although you didn't have to read the previous one if you hadn't, but it does continue that story. So and she gets into a bit of a mess. So we won't tell how it comes out. We want people to read about it. I'm going to get out your website again, if you would, for people that want to get a hold of the book or get a hold of you.
www.lindafairstein.com. There are contests on my Facebook page, which is just Linda Fairstein. We have contests. You can win books and prizes and a day at the Bronx Zoo. So come online.
Great, Linda. Great talking with you. We'll do it again. I'm sure you have another one in the works, and we'll look forward to that. But thanks for being with us today.
Thank you, Doug, for having me and introducing me to your loyal listeners. I'm grateful.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or DougMilesMedia.com.